And so for you guys that are joining us on Facebook, I'm going to invite you over to Clubhouse to join us in the Clubhouse pop-up room where you can ask questions in person. If you do have any questions and you're joining me on Facebook, please feel free to just pop them in the comments, and I will go through your questions as I close up this this awesomeness. Christine, did you have any questions about the relationship?
No, I'm just it's great to see that they will, when they're close, they're super close, and when they fight, it's almost like they fight fair, you know.
Maybe.
And that's good to know.
Maybe
Yeah,
they
probably
do.
depends on the subject they're fighting about.
Yeah, but then
Like
also,
any family, right?
oh, totally.
And then boys with their dads, there's always usually something there too, right? So
Yeah. Well, and then you can also look at, there's a lot of 44 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Between the two of them, they've got 4 times the 44 energy. And so if you guys remember the 44, I'm going to read it to you again just for clarity. The 44 is coming to meet, alertness. The success of any interaction is based on the absence of any preconditions. And so thinking about a father-son relationship, especially with people with a 1200-year-old lineage and, roles and responsibilities, like who's supposed to be who and who's supposed to respect who, if we can have preconditions, if we can get rid of the preconditions of the roles between these two people, they could have a really, really awesome relationship. So I'm going to move on to Henry Charles Albert David Mountbatten Windsor Wales, and Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II of England. So I am Canadian, and so this is actually my queen. And she is born on the 21st of April in 1926. And so she is a late Aries or an early Taurus. She was born in London. She is now 94 years old, and she is an emotional projector. And so this is the first time that we've met a projector in this story. So projectors are the natural CEOs. They're the natural consultants. They're the natural leaders. And so if you've done any reading about the Queen, you know that there's a ton of protocol that she's responsible for maintaining, and she actually has to be the boss of all of it. But it's sort of like, oh, well, we're going to consult with you, but then, we're going to take it to Parliament and we're going to argue the shit out of it. And then we're going to do what we want. And so she is a 5-1, which is a heretical investigator. And so if you do investigating on leaders around the world, this is the old guard of leaders. You see tons of 5-1s, this heretical investigator. And so that's one of the jokes that I talk about for myself. Why is this showing up again? I'm going to shut you. Quit. There we go. And they are the old guard leaders. And then the 5-1s, I always joke that they're somebody's personal Jesus. Everybody expects the 5-1s to take care of everything. And so the heretics have the ability to open their mouth and have people listen to them. They also say stupid shit. And so, she's my queen, but she has said some stuff that hasn't gone over well in her lifetime. She's made some really great mistakes. And also, she was born into this family. And so you do the best that you can. And what else do I want to tell you about that? So her themes are success or bitterness. And so this is how she chooses what she does in her life. And so Does it feel successful for her to make this choice? And if she chooses based on what feels successful, in most cases, she will be successful. But if she doesn't, and she allows other people to rush her into choices, or other people to tell her how she shows up, or other people to, do what needs to be done without consulting with her, then what can happen is not great stuff. So her chart is over here on the right-hand side. And you notice all this open space in her chart. So she's defined in her emotional center. She's defined in the root. She's defined in the throat, the ajna, which is the third eye, and the crown. Where she's not defined, the crown, isn't that fun? Where she's not defined is her G center, which is her identity center. She's not defined in her will center. She's not defined in her sex chakra. And she's not defined in her spleen. And, like, look at all these men that are around her who have the ability to give her the information that's required to move forward. And yet she is the natural leader. She's also the commander in chief. She's the queen. And so I don't know how much she consults with these men, but the ability to be able to get information by even just sitting in the same room with them and activating those centers would be really, really valuable to her. And one of the things that I remember is I can't even remember what they were talking about, but it was so cute. Like, it just makes me feel so happy when I think about this in my head, and I see the visual of the two of them sitting on the couch together, and they were talking about something uh important, and then Harry does this like mic drop boom thing with his hand after the queen finishes saying something, and then you can see them, they're just like thick as thieves together, they're just love each other so deeply. And so again, here's this connection theme of this 9 and 0 know where to go. And the so when they're together, they complete each other. So if you look at this center chart here, all of the energy centers are complete. So the queen has the 26, and Harry hooks up her 44, so they can actually have a business together. And then so that's the channel of surrender, if you want to have a look at that. And then they also complete the channel of structuring, which is also called the freak to genius channel. So they have all of these amazing ideas when they get together, and they have the ability to articulate them, and they have the ability to put them together. And so there's a ton of channels all over the place. They also complete each other's Jack of all trades channel, which I think is pretty awesome. However, Harry dominates on that Jack of all trades channel, which is the 35, 36. And so when they're together, I keep wanting to jump into when they're together, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about the queen, which I think is really interesting. So her main thing that she's here to be and do, I'm going to grab this pointer, is this energy of 3, 5. So I'm just circling that. That's her personality sun. And so you may have actually even noticed this about the Queen of England. Like, yeah, she's the Queen of England, but she's not a robot. She's an actual human being. And so gate 3 is called difficulty at the beginning, ordering. The fundamental challenge of initiation is to transcend confusion and establish order. And so how much has she had to establish order in her own personal life, in her own professional life? Like, how many prime ministers has she gone through? Oh my goodness. And so line 5 is actually called victimization, when actions designed to overcome confusion alienate others. the courage to stand by one's convictions, the unique energy of individuality to withstand confusion. So she gets confused. And she also has alienated people. And so have a look at that. She hasn't had enough space to be able to make decisions. And so you look at some of the bigger decisions that she's made and alienated the British population and alienated the Commonwealth. And it was because she didn't give herself enough space to be able to make those choices. And you notice in her chart, like she doesn't have that two energy predominant in her chart where she would know that she needs to like back off and give herself some space to make choices. And so again, she's not a perfect person. She also is the Queen of England. And so this is predominant in her chart. Wouldn't that be interesting for her to know that difficulty at the beginning of everything is one of the predominant themes in her life? That'd be really cool. I'd love for her to have this information. So if you happen to know her, please share this broadcast. So, and then her desk work is 26.2. So for you guys who are paying attention, here's another 26. The taming power of the great, the egoist, maximization of the power of memory applied to the nurturing of continuity. Very interesting. Line 2. Are you guys doing the math? This is the second 26 line 2. Lessons of history, the energy and depth of reflection to learn from the past in anticipation of the future, the power of the ego to mature through experience. So that's her natural thing that she's here to do as her desk work, is to mature through experience. And holy crowley, has she ever matured through experience? She was a very young woman when she was ascended to the throne, very young, in her 20s. I don't know what you were doing in your 20s, but you weren't running the Commonwealth of England. And so her culture, her business culture is 41.3, which is called decrease contraction, the limitation of resources, which maximizes the development of potential. And so in this location, this is in her personality Jupiter, she's 41.3. So 0.3 is efficacy or efficiency. In times of decrease, selfishness is justified. Material ambition and the discipline to go it alone. Well, actually, is she up? Okay, yeah. The energy that fuels the feeling for personal ambition. And so her correct work culture is a place where she can be ambitious. And so I don't know if that has actually shown up for her, that she can be ambitious in her role as the Queen of England. You know, I mean, maybe the first Elizabeth could be, you know, you think about all the realms that got added to England during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I. You know, ambition would have been a pretty amazing placement in her chart. Now, this woman also has ambition in her chart as her culture, but I'm not 100% sure how ambitious she's been allowed to be in her life and in her business. Now, her, if you look here, her personality Jupiter, this is her number one place where abundance shows up in her chart, is 49.4. And I have 49 in my chart as well. 49 is revolution. Ideally, the transformation of forms based on the highest principles and not simply for power. And so I wonder if the Queen knows that she has revolution as predominant in her chart as she does. So popular discontent is line 3, the ability to destroy antiquated forms once restrictions have been removed. the potential insensitivity to reject failed principles or relationships. And so this is one of the things that I do know about the Queen is she's now made it that if you are a firstborn girl, you can become the next monarch. You don't have to wait to see whether or not there's like a brother finally born. You just automatically become the firstborn. You're the firstborn monarch, whether you're a woman or a man, which I think is pretty freaking cool. So does anybody have any questions about our Majesty, my Majesty, Queen of England?
No questions, just interesting. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, very interesting. Hey, Christine, do you have any questions?
I was just going to say, it totally makes sense to me now why at 94 she's still chosen not to retire, right? Because she's got all that access to all of that historical information that she lived through. So she witnessed firsthand, and she can bring that to the fore anytime she needs it to make decisions or make changes as needed, and evolving the monarchy from what it was then to what it is now, and bringing it into successfully bringing it into the 21st century.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are changes that needed to be made. Those changes are being made, and you know, this is looking really good for their future.
It is. It is. And so for me, when I'm looking at these charts together, one of the things that I did notice in the interview is that Harry said that he'd been talking to his grandmother, the Queen of England, more in the last 2 years than he had been talking to her before. And, you know, so as he comes into his maturity as a man, as a family man, you know, his ability to lean on his grandmother and ask her questions about, you know, hey, grandma, what should I do? What should I choose here? You know, these are the things that, you know, are really obvious to me what I should choose. And, you know, as much as the press wanted to make it that the Queen of England was blindsided by her, you know, grandson, you know, this is not something that these two people would ever do to one another. You know, unless it's like a hugely dysfunctional relationship, they would never do that to one another. And, you know, it's so interesting looking at these charts. These are very powerful people, very, very powerful people. Like the Queen herself, she has 3 dominance channels in this relationship. Harry has 2 dominance channels in this relationship. They have 2 attraction channels together. They only have 1 compromise channel, which is the transitoriness channel. And you can see that that probably wouldn't be super great for the Queen to, you know, have Harry be so transitory in his approach to life. But he's a line 3. He needs to try new things. He needs to be transitory. So from what I can see also in the chart, like basically almost every gate in the throat center is defined when these 2 people get together. I can see them having huge, long conversations together about what should happen. I think that they probably really love talking to one another. The other thing that happens when they get together is Harry brings all of that sexual energy in the room with him. So that sacral energy, when you don't have a defined sacral, when somebody comes in the room with the sacral energy, it energizes you. It gives you know, you feel lit up. You feel like you can do anything. And so I really hope that they have the ability to, you know, share a room soon. You know, like I just really, yeah, I can feel what how valuable that is for her to be able to get to be in a room with him and get lit up by his young energy and his vibrant energy and his Action Jackson energy. Yeah.
Yeah, and Jennifer, I just wanted to add that I love the dynamics of the relationship, because I heard in the interview how Harry said how much he respects his grandmother. But when he said how much he respects her, you can feel that it was really how much I love her. He wouldn't say that publicly because of her role, but he was oozing out how much he loved her. And then afterwards, he also made another comment to say, and she's my commander in chief, and she will always be my commander in chief. But he said that again with pride, not with her dominating him or having power over him, how he's actually really proud to have her as his commander in chief. So it was just, again, just hearing him speak of her, you could tell the close bond that they have between them.
Well, they're beautiful. Like you look at how they plug into one another. Like he does not have a defined route. He only has one gate in his route. And so when they get together, she's very earthy, very grounded. So she's his rock when they get together. He's just feels centered and grounded and really loves his time with his Gran. And then vice versa, she doesn't have a defined sacral center. So when they get together, she feels people in Western countries tend to think, oh, well, the sacral center is all about having sex. And it's really not. It's about the fuel to create anything in your life. So it's whether it's a baby or a painting or a new business or, writing a book or, just like the fuel to create anything. It's like a rocket ship. And so Harry has all of this rocket ship energy when he comes into a room. And so she has the ability to tap right into that rocket ship energy. And they connect this entrepreneurial channel, this 4426. So anything that they're doing with the firm, any changes that they're making in the firm, Granny grounds it. She's like, okay, is that practical? How will that land for the future? And Harry is like, well, let's just fight for it. Let's fight for human rights. Let's fight for these changes. And so they give each other a ton of energy. And it's just a really beautiful symbiotic relationship. The only thing that I would love to point out again is it's one of these 9 and 0 relationships. And so when Harry and Gran are together in the room, everyone else just fades. Everyone else just fades. So,
Right.
Charles can feel excluded. Will can feel excluded. Meghan can feel excluded. Camilla can feel excluded. Just anybody who's in the room. And, these two are rubbing elbows. It's this relationship takes over the whole room.
Yes, and I've heard it described that Harry is her favorite grandson. I mean, obviously somebody's picked up on that, and
It's written all over the chart. It's written all over the chart that
So cool.
these two people, they plug in so nicely together. So for the British royal family as a business entity to have done some things to alienate this son, not right. And so I'm gonna ask you guys if you have any questions about that, because the next thing that I'm gonna share is so freaking good. It's something called a Penta. And so you would use this in a family to make sure that everybody's in the correct roles. And you use this in a business to make sure that everybody's in the correct roles. But before I do that, do you guys have any questions or any observations about the relationship between Prince Harry and Her Majesty the Queen of England?
Nope, I'm good now. I got it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how the whole dynamic all works together.
Well, I'm so excited to share it with you. And so again, this will be if you hire me for your business, this will be, say you're an entrepreneur and you're thinking about hiring contractors. Before you hire them, well, one, you need an expert to help you hire them. And my friend Christine is excellent at that. And then the two of us together, Christine's really good at the systems and processes and investigating and, making you not make the same mistakes. And I'm really excellent at helping you take care of your body in a business, and also really noticing what your talents are, and extrapolating on your talents. And so when you look at this chart, we've got this is Prince William is blue. So any of the squares that show up in this chart, and this is just a very specific roles in business. So Prince William is blue. Harry is blue. Will's is green. This is hierarchical tension. And then Prince Charles is red. Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II is purple, of course. And Meghan is gold, of course. And so let's have a look. So in a business, this is actually what you need. You need people who are disciplined. And so these are the people who show up on time. These are the people who are the key holders of the business. And so look at who's disciplined. The Queen is disciplined. Of course she is. And Meghan is disciplined. Nobody else is disciplined. Just the Queen and Meghan. And who can demonstrate about the business? I think that this is so cool. Who can demonstrate about the business? So these are the people, this is the PR team of the business. Is the Queen, of course, and then also Harry and William can demonstrate about the business. They are the PR team of the business. And then 33 is traditions. So who can maintain the traditions? Who makes sure to have photographs taken? Who makes sure that, things get signed? Who makes sure that that is looked after? Well, it's actually the Queen and Meghan fulfill those roles in this family business. And then very interesting, the future direction, and you can see it right in his chart, the future direction of the company, of the firm, is actually Prince Charles. And so if he were allowed to design what the future of the British royal family is, then he would be the person that you would bring into these future focused conversations. The present, the only person who's actually paying attention to the presence time in the firm is Meghan. Here she is. She's the only person who's present. The past is actually Will. He knows what's happened in the past. That's the 13 gates. So he has the ability, I have that gate as well, to listen to the past and, what makes people happy? How do they get to where, everybody is getting what they want? Material gain, the only person who shows up in the material gain section, Meghan. Everybody else, nope. And so this gate 2, the best way I have to describe it is, so gate 14 is all about resources. And she has those as well, but gate 14 is all about resources. And so imagine you have this treasure chest, you have the British crown jewels. Well, the only person who actually has the energetic keys to the crown jewels is Meghan. She has, she is distribution. So thinking about like Amazon. So imagine you have this Amazon warehouse full of things. Well, nobody in the company called the firm has the software or the hardware to be able to get that material out to the community or the world at large, other than Meghan. And then 14, in this chart, it's called demands, but really what it is resources. And so the people who have the real resources are Harry, the Queen, and Meghan. Harry, the Queen, and Meghan are the people who have the resources for this firm. The person who knows and remembers to plug in the coffee maker and look after that is Harry. He's the one who's like, oh, we're going on a long journey. We better pack lunch. Harry's the one who remembers that. And then Prince Charles is the one who pays attention to the greater world. No one else is paying attention to the greater world in this firm. And then the flow channel, the 15, is all about being in flow and, you know, attracting and being in flow. And the people who know about being in flow are actually Wills and Prince Charles. And then discovery, which is like the greater world, like Marco Polo, like going out and discovering new opportunities, is Meghan and Wills. So when you look at their family Penta, there's some holes here. And who's the person who fills all of the holes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes is Meghan. Even the Queen fills 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. And then, so what do I want to say about this, you guys? Like, this person is an integral member of the firm. And so for her to be shunted off to the back corner and to be told, oh, well, you can't help, and, you know, go away, and, you know, just we'll tell you when to show up, but otherwise, you know, stay out of our business and don't help us. It's not wise. Not wise. This person can really, really help you. And so I don't know if you guys have ever been involved in a business where you knew that you could help them and you knew that you could do some good. And maybe you even needed to somewhat prove it to them. So I love this. Like when I pulled this Penta chart, it was so funny. I was saying earlier that I was in this clubhouse where I was the only white person there. And it was a bunch of people of color from all over the world, I think British Commonwealth countries. And, you know, we were all talking about Meghan and Harry and the interview. And I was saying, you know, when they first got together, you know, I was swept up in the romance of it. And then I really have an energetic acuity. I'm really accurate with who belongs where. And I've been that my whole entire life. I remember looking at married couples at church when I was there with my grandma and thinking, well, that lady would go really well with that guy, and that guy would go really well with that lady. And I was too young to just not know that that's just not how it was done, especially at church. And, you know, I just really tapped into, you know, how cosmopolitan she is, and, you know, how intentional she is with her life and how careful she is with people. And, you know, this just really speaks to me that this person can be an incredible asset to the firm if they would allow her to be, and mend fences or whatever is required, so that she feels like, you know, her family is well looked after. Nurturing is super important to her, and she deeply loves and is deeply connected with her husband. But as we look through the charts, none of the things that they say that she is responsible for, she, according to the charts, is even capable of. And, you know, her friends have all said, you know, are you nuts? And of course, the British press is nuts. Everybody knows that. That's nothing new. And so looking at this chart, you guys, is there any questions that you have about this? Is there any observations that you'd like to share?
I just wanted to add that, you know, and again, aligned with everything that you said, I heard Meghan say during the interview that when I came into the royal family, she said, I basically said to them, I am here, use me as you need me. And I went, wow, like that was a big sacrifice. She gave up her career. She gave up her place of residence. I mean, obviously she was at that moment coming into a family that she envisioned as greatness, and a family that, from what I understand, was missing for her. But she was so giving. She was like, I'm here, whatever you need. Like her words were, use me. And then I understood that when they went on one of their first trips, and I believe it was through Africa, and the family was very welcoming of her. And then after, when she had that trip, it was like, how does she integrate? How does she feel so comfortable with the public? How does she do so well? How did she, get so liked so quickly? And I almost sensed, I thought, is there jealousy there? Because from there, as she perceived it and as she described it, that whole warmth from the family suddenly disappeared.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So
yeah, and it can be. I mean, when you look at this Penta, she's a robust being. So if they were expecting her to be, like a beautiful black Barbie that they can dress any way they wanted and, put her hair up and put her hair down and, put her in a sparkling gown, she's not
Yeah.
that person. She's beautifully made.
Yeah.
And she's not even a Ferrari, she's a Bugatti. And so just they're missing out. That's
Yeah,
all I really have to say about that.
almost like a panther, like a beautiful, elegant panther.
Yeah.
But yeah, they
Yeah.
they thought she was going to be soft and demure and soft spoken. And
Well, she
yeah,
kind of
anyway.
she is, but she's also has the ability to be a leader, and she is a leader. And so, like when you're hiring for your business, this is the type of person that you would want as your CEO or as your CFO if she offered. Like you're looking for these type of gates in someone that is involved in strategic planning, involved in really, really knowing what the future is of your business and being able to make sure that the financial needs of your business will always be met, and the flow between the material and the demands are always met. And then going out in the world, she has that discovery channel. She has the ability to go out into the world and be seen and be invited. And it's her and Wills who should be sent on these tours, not even the Queen. I mean, she's getting a little old now, but hopefully she's the Energizer Bunny and keeps on ticking. She's still riding her horses and still really enjoying her life. But if I was consulting with the royal family, which I would love to do, the people who I would send out to go meet people are the young ones. Yeah, especially her, especially William.
Yeah, and when they had their wedding, the royal family was surprised at who showed up. It's like, oh, we didn't realize that she had connections, with Oprah, with I'm trying to think who else. I think it was George Clooney, and it's like, oh, they were kind of surprised. So she's got a lot of close, intimate connections, and I see her as very genuine and very authentic. That's why I'm so drawn to her, and I just love that both about her and Harry.
Yeah, well, that's that 27 channels. She's a nurturer, and that the 5 energy will always be the most magnetic person in the room. They're very transpersonal. People also really project hard on them. They're like, be my Jesus, solve my problems. Why aren't you solving my problems? Hurry up and solve my problems. My friends who have that 5 energy, especially in their personality, they're very transpersonal. They're coaches, they're, CEOs of companies, they're sales oriented. They do have the ability to be spokespeople, and but people do project on them. So the information that they have to have, especially somebody with that 2 line, and especially with someone with like retreat and privacy so predominant in their chart. They really have to have those places and spaces where they retreat to. And then, if we rewind back to Queen Elizabeth II, and her difficulty at the beginning, and her needing space on her decisions. Well, I don't know that she has given herself permission to have as much privacy as she actually requires. I know she goes to Balmoral, and they try to keep it real and sort of family oriented at Balmoral, but like inviting heads of state to Balmoral, which is her retreat, might not be the brightest penny in the box. Like, I think that they really do need, especially the Queen and her lover, the Duke, probably need their own place where nobody gets invited to. And I don't know that she's allowed herself to have that much privacy. And so those are, those are some of the
She's
things.
all about service. You're right. She's all about service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she sort of expects herself to be almost like a, with protocol, a drive-through. And I just don't agree with that. I really don't. If she was, if I was her secretary, I would be like, or advising her secretary, I wouldn't like to be her secretary. I'd be like, look, you need to actually put her in these positions where she's, telling people about history, telling people about the lessons of history, and, what she's learned as the world's longest monarch, like how to be a leader for every freaking day of your life. And
So true.
yeah,
So true.
yeah, I think, of all of them, I think that she's just so remarkable. And, I really think that they're losing a remarkable asset with this, with Harry and Meghan going to Los Angeles. And, every decision that we make in our life is always based on, I'm just going to stop share. Every decision that we make in our lives is always based on the information that we have. All of these manifesting generators are designed to respond, and all of these generators are designed to respond. And you can't initiate as a generator. You can't. And you can't actually initiate as a projector either. So you need some other people in your life to respond to. And so you have to make sure that you're responding. And so I would say using human design and learning the tools of human design and knowing what a correct response is for you, and knowing how much space that you need on your responses. Because if you're an emotional projector, then you actually have to wait until your wave calms down. You can't be a drive-through. You have to make people wait for you. And if you're an emotional manifesting generator, you have to wait for that to calm down. No matter how fast you are, you need to be like, okay, am I still waving on this? Yep. So I can't make a decision fast. And so it may be that Harry and Meghan's responses were still in the wave. Or maybe the Queen said, oh, okay, go ahead and do that. But she was still in her wave. And, there's a lot of emotion, and there's a lot of intuition, and there's a lot of preservation in this family structure. And I think the final thing, I'm going to ask you guys some questions, and then I'm going to wrap up. So do you guys have any final observations?
No, just like I said, fascinating. It brought a lot of light for me and a clear understanding. And I guess aside from everything that you've shared about the royal family, I guess now that this is my first connection with you, I would like to know more about how to connect with you, and so that I can, just learn and understand more about what you do professionally and how I can share this within my network. So that's what I'm curious about now.
Wonderful. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for planting the segue, Jasmine.
Okay.
What about you, Christine? Anything else as I close out this segment?
I don't know. Jasmine really hit everything on the head there. She's so good at that. So yeah, no, I'm ready to wrap.
Awesome. I love it. So this was our first foray into sharing information about a complex relationship structure. And it was just so obvious to me that I needed to share this information with you. So my name is Jennifer Cramer Lewis, and you can find out more about me at jennifercramerlewis.com. I have a boutique consultancy and I work with deliciously ambitious female business owners, and I really help them navigate the flow of their business so that 90, 100, 125% of the time they're truly delighted and profitable in their business. I use a plethora of tools, and I have a really talented team of people who help me build a life by design for you, a business by design for you, and focus you on your true talents, your true life's purpose. And so human design is one of the tools. I also have an Akashic records specialist who has a really amazing way of accessing the Akashic records. I also have a really, really remarkable scientific hand analysis specialist who's also a priestess. I also have a really remarkable business analyst. He's like an x-ray tech for financials. So he'll go through your profit and loss and he'll tell you what's strained, what's broken, what's sprained. Christine is here with us today, and she is a resource specialist. She knows how to source anything that needs to be sourced. She has a business called I Have People for That, and she's also one of the resources on my team. And then I also have an embodiment specialist who's also a sound healer. And so when you work with me, and I also have my dog who is a dog shaman, and he's 100% sure that 99% of the healing that people have from my consultancy come from him. And so when you work with me, you have this whole team of people at your disposal to help you build a business where you are 99, 100% in your talents. And then we start to hire back, as you see from this family Penta, we use the same tool. So, all of the things that you're excellent at, of course, we keep you in those roles, but the things that you suck at, it is going to be really, really obvious. And so we start to hire for that, and we start to build systems and structures where your body is fully embodied in your life and in your business, and your talents are fully expressed in your life and in your business. And as I was saying earlier, I am like a I am like a stage mom. I love it. I have the talent channel, which goes from my spleen right to my throat. And, I know talent when I see it. And I really love to nurture talent. And I think the future of the world is really dependent on business. And it's also really dependent on you being 100% delighted in your life and in the business that you're doing. And as I was saying earlier, 70% of the population says that they're not happy with the work that they're doing, that they actually hate their jobs. And I find that really, really disheartening, especially thinking about people being business owners, being not delighted with their jobs and with their business. Um, they shouldn't be in business if they're not happy with what they're doing. And so my invitation for you is to join my group, which is called the Joyful Entrepreneur. So if you go to community.jennifercramerlewis.com and you join the Joyful Entrepreneur, then you'll start to learn more about me. We may be doing more of these. I'm looking for some invitations to respond to do more of these longer deep dives into stuff that's happening in the world from the standpoint of people's DNA, what they incarnated here to be and do, what their special missions are, and give you some information on how you can start to navigate your life and really aim at delight And that was predominant in Megan's chart. She has that 46, the delight. And, you know, she's not here to be serious. She's here to be delightful, just like I am. And so that's my invitation for you. Join the Joyful Entrepreneur. If you go to community.jennifercramerlewis.com, you can join the Joyful Entrepreneur community. And then also I have a weekly podcast, which is a broadcast. So it's on any podcast software that you regularly listen to. So Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, like any of those podcast places. It's called Big Fat Lies. And so the invitation with Big Fat Lies is to open your eyes to all the places and spaces where lies are existing in your life that are stopping you from being happy, profitable, switched on, delighted fully in your talents. And so every week I have a new lie. And so tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Friday, at 1 o'clock Pacific, which is UTC -8, wherever you are in the world. The lie on Friday is called triggering your clients is bad. Another big fat lies. So if you've been pussyfooting around your clients, if you have, you know, these high test thoroughbred clients that are, you know, getting annoyed at everything, sometimes triggering them is required. If you can trigger them into a new reality, trigger them into a new choice that will actually work for them, that will allow them to have a life and living that's completely delightful, then I believe as a transformational coach and mentor and, you know, with my business consultancy, I can't be complacent. I can't allow my clients to continue to make these choices that don't work for them. And I fucking refuse. I refuse.
Awesome. Awesome.
Awesome. So thank you guys so much for this. If you are looking for the slides, they will be available inside my community, and please connect with me wherever you connect at Jennifer Cramer Lewis, and it's Cramer with a C. So
Awesome.
yeah, thanks so much for showing up, you guys.
All right. Pleasure to be with you. And yeah, look forward to connecting again. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for staying with us.